Hi guys, Ramsey here. Welcome to another video. Today we are doing a Perfumers portfolio video. And the first one of these that I did was on the great Annick Minardo. And, you know, these type of perfumers like Annick Minardo. And today it's going to be on Nathalie Lorson. They just give so much value for money. You know, that's why I wanted to start with these, because if there's fragrances from Annick Minardo in that list that I did, if there's fragrances from some of these from Nathalie Lorson's today, I really think that these are the type of perfumers that you should really start with. You know, if you're going to build a collection and you don't have some of these fragrances, it's a cheap and cost-effective way to get some amazing fragrances, in my personal opinion. I'm going to say some stuff today that you guys will probably say is outrageous. I'm going to tell you my favorite vetiver fragrance is one of these cheapies. I enjoy wearing it more than Creeds, more than Rojas, more than, you know, all of that stuff. So price doesn't always necessarily mean better. You have to learn that in the perfume world. It is not price high, value good. Not always the case. Sometimes you just have to ask yourself, how can you get such an amazing fragrance for such a cheap price? And so that's why today's episode, number 2, in the Perfumer Portfolio series is going to be on Nathalie Lorson. Now, I want to read you a quick blurb on her that I found. So, interesting fact on Nathalie Lorson. She describes herself as a seeker. Her aspiration to constantly create something new and enrich the fragrance world with something unprecedented is centered in all her creations, but she also seeks the challenge of transforming her clients' wishes and demands into a perfume formula, and later into a bottle. At only 6 years old, she came to Grasse, where her father was employed as a chemist by Noir, the perfume manufacturer. So, a childhood and youth spent at the center of beauty fragrances shaped her and her career aspirations from an early age. After a few years in Paris, she returned to Grasse at the age of 20 to train as a perfumer at what would later become the Givaudan Academy. In the 1980s, she was one of the very few women to follow this career path. After completing her training, her first stop as a junior perfumer was at IFF in 1987. Firmenich successfully recruited her from there in 2000. She created perfumes for all the posh designers such as Gucci, YSL, Giorgio Armani, Jill Sander, Dolce & Gabbana, and Dior. In addition, Class A celebrities like Dita Von Tess, Katie Moss, and Lady Gaga had their signature fragrances created by her. Her highlights so far include her creations for Maison Violet, a niche producer of high-quality perfume, which was even a purveyor to the imperial court. She also considers her collaboration on Black Opium by YSL as a distinguishing one, being created with her professional colleague Marie Salome, Olivier Cresp, and Honoré Blanc. Her favorite ingredients, rose, patchouli, vanilla, and pepper, can be repeatedly found in her creations. However, Nathalie Lorson does not follow a particular signature. Her pioneering spirit and desire for new things also win out when choosing ingredients. She is one of the few noses in the industry who can call themselves master perfumer. In addition to terrific commercial success, this distinction also requires a great deal of experience. Since her curiosity and thirst for knowledge knows no bounds, the world of beautiful fragrances will certainly have greater things to expect from Nathalie Lorson. So, I know I took a couple minutes reading that. I tried to read it fast, but I thought that was pretty interesting as a good background on her. I've got 7 amazing Nathalie Lorson creations, but as usual, we are going to do scent of the day first. My scent of the day is Bortnikov's Mysterious Oud. If you want to check, can I speak today? Let's find some words, Ramsey. If you want to take a look at an unbelievable note list, look at this. Look at that note list. Pause the video and read that note list at your leisure. Unreal. Bortnikov makes some amazing ouds. In fact, since it's my scent of the day, let's give it a spray, shall we? So good. But what's interesting is, if you want a pure in-your-face oud, don't get this. Get Oud Maximus. This is kind of like this spicy take on oud. It has this unbelievable clove note. So the oud is definitely there, but it's mixed with this beautiful orange you know, spice. The orange runs right through the center of the... Yeah, this is a 6.5 hour dry down, and I can still smell the orange. It's there from the beginning. In the beginning, it's a very zesty orange with oud kind of in the background, and then after about an hour, I would say, the oud really presents itself and brings itself to the foreground. But it's kind of used more as a base, I would say. So you get the oud early here, but it's not an in-your-face oud like Oud Maximus. There's other, you know, parts to this fragrance. This is a spicy oriental type fragrance. It has a lot of resins. There's vanilla, labdanum, apopanax, tolu balsam, castoreum, clove, myrrh, cinnamon. You know, those are the what you would take away from this fragrance. And then it has all of the 3 different types of oud, and it has the orange in the top, and amber shimama, which I learned is used in a lot of it is used in a lot of Indian atars, sorry. And basically it's created there in a way where they put a bunch of different things into this shimama, is what it's called. I've never heard of it before, but Yura was explaining it to me. He got an answer from Ashfaq. You know, they put seashells, they put mushrooms, they put all this stuff into this blend, this amber shimama blend, and they use it in atars. I'd never heard of it before this. So, you know, you learn something new with indie perfumery. Okay, let's move on to Nathalie Lorson. We're going to begin with one that I only have a couple samples of. She did this with, she did this fragrance here with Pierre Nagrin in 2015. This is Opus IX. As you can see, I have 3 official samples from the brand. Take a look at the official samples, by the way. They are absolutely beautiful for a sample. They have the Amouage crest right here. And, whoops, I guess that's upside down. It is. And then you open it up like so, and there's the decanter with a cap. How's that for a sample? A cap on the sample, and then you get this little blurb that comes with it. Here, let me open the one that I've already used and sprayed before. Comes out a little bit easier. So there's the official sample with the cap. Oh, so Opus IX, here, I'll read you the little blurb. Inspired by La Traviata, Opus IX is a soulful interpretation of the camellia flower. Now, the camellia flower does not have a smell, I don't think. So, you know how we talked about in the past, perfumers made fougères to smell like a fern. If a fern had a smell, ferns don't have a smell. The camellia flower is a scentless flower. And so this is their interpretation of what it would smell like, and it is an amazing fragrance. I wish I had a full bottle of this. I actually have a full bottle of an Amouage that just arrived today. Surprise, surprise, unboxing coming tonight. But this is amazing, but you have to like animalic floral fragrances because, oh God, it has this floral beeswax type accord that mixes with 2 animalic notes that I absolutely love, civet and ambergris. And those 2 notes with the floral fragrances with this animalic beeswax. So there's really 3 animalic notes in here because the beeswax goes animalic in this fragrance as well, along with this leather. So it's this floral leather gaiac wood with beeswax. Oh God, so, so good. She knocked it out of the park on this. I think this is my favorite Opus so far that I've smelled. I have a blind buy coming, Opus XI tonight, that I'll upload to my channel, but this is full bottle worthy in my opinion. They're just so expensive, these library collections, Amouage, and I have 3 of these official samples, so I never went for a full bottle. But bravo, Nathalie Lorson in Pierre Nagrin. If you want to try some of her fragrances with high-end ingredients, because a lot of the full bottles I have are cheapies, check out Opus IX. Seriously, you have to like animalic fragrances, but this is the only one of the bunch that I have from her that's a niche house. That new house I mentioned in the beginning, Maison Violet, or I think it's just Violet. Maison Violet, I guess if you're French. She is basically the in-house perfumer for, they revived that brand. Sebastian has an amazing video on that, by the way. That's a brand that competed with Guerlain 100 years ago, 150 years ago even. They came out a long time ago, and then they just disappeared after World War II. And so these young kids revived the brand, and she liked the idea so much that she agreed to basically make a lot of their creations. And the creations they're making for that brand, they are the previous formulas. So the names are the same as the old formula of the old perfumes. The ingredients are supposed to be somewhat similar. So they're like not only reviving the brand, but reviving the perfumes from the past too. Cool little idea for a brand. Okay. Next, Nathalie Lorson we're going to go to is probably her #1 fragrance as far as hype goes. And I got my trusty microfiber cloth here so I can get rid of fingerprints. Oh God, Mysterious Oud is so good. So this is Bentley for Men Intense. And everyone knows this is one of the top cheapies on any channel. They talk about it ad nauseum, but it is well deserved. It is an amazing boozy fragrance. This has the note of rum with this incense leather thing going on. There's the warmth of benzoin, which just for a cold day just, you know, wraps you up in this blanket almost. There's patchouli, there's cedar, there's cinnamon. There's geranium, which adds a little bit of freshness to an otherwise heavier creation. Oh, it's so good. For a cheapie, you know, it is for 25 bucks or whatever it is for 100 ml. You know, if you're a guy on a budget, I don't know if you could do much better than this for the winter. I like wearing some of the other ones a little bit more than this, personally, but I could see why this is #1. Bentley for Men Intense is the second perfume on the list. Okay, on to #3. We're going to go to a hidden gem. Now, people don't talk about this fragrance, and I honestly, for the life of me, can't understand why. This is one of the best cedar fragrances I've ever smelled. It is mixed with the note of violet leaf, which is a little bit ozonic and maybe puts some people off, so it's not as mass appealing as this. But if you're a frag head, and I'm assuming if you're watching my channel that you probably are, you know, I'm kind of turning into like the intellectual channel or something all of a sudden. I'm getting the big time frag heads, which is what I love. But if you're a big time frag head and you want another fragrance to enjoy on the cheap, and you don't want to spend a lot of money, and you already have all the other cheapies like this, check this out. This is Claude Montana's Graphite. This came out, I think, a decade ago. When did this come out? Yeah, 2011, this came out. And this, it's so good. I don't understand. I could totally see if this gets discontinued, I could totally see these bottles going for $100 instead of $30 or $150 one day. Look at the color of the juice. The juice in her fragrances is pretty amazing. If this is the natural color, it's pretty amazing stuff. And basically what this is a heavy cedar with violet leaf. There's gaiac wood as well, and pepper. She loves mixing that pepper opening. This also has a pepper opening, by the way, even though it goes into a boozy route. She uses the same kind of warmth of benzoin here that she does here. You could wear both of these in kind of the same occasion, but if you wanted to maybe mix it up, you don't want to smell like every other guy that just looked up great cheapie lists and bought Bentley for Men Intense, Graphite is a great under the radar cheapie. This would definitely be on my cheapie list if I ever made one. It has amber. It's ambery. It would definitely be on my top amber list if I made one of those. There's oak moss in this, so it stays manly. Violet leaf is a very manly note historically, and then cedar. This is very woody. You know, for what I picked this up for, I got 100 ml for like $30 a few years back. Yeah, this is 100 ml, and both fragrances from this house. I also have Montana Parfum Dome, which is a 1989 release, and I love that as well. So both of the Montana fragrances in my collection are thumbs up for me. But she just makes these type of fragrances that, you know, it's a budget fragrance, but she turns it into something so much more. It's so much more amazing. Don't get the oud one. There's an oud version of this that is. But if you can just find the original Montana Graphite for men, it is well worth grabbing at 30 bucks or 35 bucks or whatever you can find this for 100 ml. In the winter, this is very interesting. I'm surprised no one talks about this, to be honest with you. Very, very surprised. Yeah, really good. Really good woody. You have to like, this is heavy woods though, between Gaiac and cedar. The woods are very amped up here, so you have to like woody fragrances. But if you do, check this out. She created something amazing here. No one talks about it. That's kind of her MO with a lot of these. Some people talk a lot about them, like this gets a lot of talk, but some of them get no talk. Okay, now we're gonna move on to vetiver. And she obviously made the Encre Noir series for Lalique. Lalique is another house that puts out amazing fragrances for cheap. I only have two. I don't have the original because I didn't care for it as much as these two. But I have two of these. I'm going to show you the sport version first because that's how it came out. This came out in 2013. This is Encre Noir Sport. And then I'm going to show you the next one, which came out a couple years later. But if you want something, if you want a vetiver fragrance, the reason that I say that these are my favorite vetiver fragrances is if you've ever smelled real vetiver absolute, these two are the closest thing to real vetiver absolute that you can find. And I really like that about these fragrances, and the fact that they're cheap even adds to the appeal to me. It doesn't take away from the appeal. I mean, I have Roja's vetiver, I have Creed's vetiver, I have Nishane's Sultan vetiver. I have all of those, but I still enjoy wearing these so much. The Sport, a little bit less than the next one coming up, but I will wear this in the summer. Vetiver is a very serious note. You know, if you go to the office and you want somebody to take you seriously, wear this. And this thing lasts forever. It literally lasts forever. If I spray this on, you know, in the evening, I will smell it in the morning on both of these, on both of the Encre Noirs that I'm going to show you. This one has the citruses turned up. So there's grapefruit and bergamot and nutmeg in the top. There's cypress, and they say watery notes. Okay, don't let this worry you. This is not an aquatic fragrance. This is a vetiver fragrance. And then it's probably the cashmere woods, which, as we know, means cashmeran, which is a synthetic molecule created in a lab. It's not found in nature. And then there's two types of vetiver in this. There's Haitian vetiver and there is bourbon vetiver. So if you're a guy on the budget, skip the Creeds, skip the Rojas. You know, that's for the frag heads that just want to compare vetivers. To me, if I was on a budget, I would just buy these two vetivers I'm going to show you, and you're set on vetiver. You know, in my personal opinion, you're buying one of the best vetiver fragrances just because it's $25, 30 bucks for 100 ml. Who cares? And even the bottles are high quality bottles. Lalique makes a lot of bottles for other brands. If you ever look at the bottom and you see these, you know, you see these 77760. A lot of times that basically is a Lalique bottle that's being used. So they make a lot of bottles for a lot of other brands. And great presentation, great juice inside. This is some of the most natural vetiver, absolute smelling fragrances that I have in my collection. This is one, but now we're going to go to my favorite. I wear this one usually more in the summer, the sport. This one coming up, I like to wear in weather like this. It's in the 30s, 40s, 50s today in Texas. Oh God, this is so good. This is Encre Noir Trem. Look at the dent I put in this bottle. I love wearing this stuff. Even though this is dark and brooding and resinous, the resins are really amped up in this. Look at the juice color, my God. She just makes amazing fragrances. I really struggled with saying this is my favorite vetiver because I like wearing Creed's original vetiver in the warmer months, but there's something about this that to me is even more special. You know, the Creed is so much like Mugler cologne that I have a hard time saying that's my favorite vetiver, but this is so unique. She took this vetiver, made it so earthy. It's almost like, you know, the vetiver in this is so earthy and dank, and on a rainy day, on a rainy cold day, this is absolutely perfect for me. There's incense in this. There's elemi in the top, so the watery notes are gone. There's elemi, which adds that lemony pininess to the top with cypress. She stuck with the cypress theme. Amped up the benzoin, which she loves using in fragrances like these that I just showed you. Benzoin is the warmth of benzoin, the resinous benzoin, and added the patchouli, extra patchouli with orris. So good. As much love as this gets, it still doesn't get enough. I honestly think that this is one of the best vetiver fragrances around, irregardless of price. If you just blind tested people, took the price tag away, don't let them know Roja's $500 for 50 ml. I enjoy wearing Roja's vetiver, but it's done in a Roja style. It's done in this posh, you know, elitist style. This is just an everyman's vetiver. I love that about this. So good. You have to be a vetiver lover to appreciate these, though. But if you want to explore the note of vetiver, I honestly cannot think of a better way to do it in such a cheap. You can get both of these for $60 total between the two. You're set for summer, you're set for winter. You know, it's fantastic value for money. The next fragrance, by the way, is very similar to this idea of great value for money, but instead of the note of vetiver, we're going to go to the note of incense. Now, not everyone agrees with me on this fragrance. And I'm probably going to ruffle some feathers out there, but I'm going to say this is one of my favorite incense fragrances to wear. I enjoy wearing this fragrance. Now, do I enjoy wearing Incense Extreme by Tower a little bit more, or, you know, Bois d'Encens by Armani Privé a little bit more? Yes, but those are $300 fragrances, and this is a $30 fragrance. This is Zadig and Voltaire's This Is Him. Now, this is a tester that I bought, so the notes are actually on the side. Look how simple the note listing is. This is literally three things. This is grapefruit in the top. This is incense in the mid. And this is sandalwood in the base. Now, there's vanilla also and black pepper. She loves that black pepper combo. That's kind of like her signature. That peppery grapefruit incense thing she does so well. This is done on a budget, about as good as you could do an incense fragrance. The incense is very noticeable in this fragrance. It doesn't smell cheap. It doesn't smell rushed. You know what she did here in Zadig and Voltaire's This Is Him. She did this with Aurélien Guichard in 2016, by the way. This other perfumer, Aurélien Guichard, I'm not as familiar with his work. I think he's done some other things. He did the new Burberry Hero, which I hear is crap. Never smelled it. He did stuff like Davidoff Champion a decade ago. Never smelled that. So he's done some work. He's been around the block a couple times. He did Gucci by Gucci Pour Homme, which I've never smelled. And the Intense Oud version, which I've never smelled. But needless to say, these are two perfumers who have been around the block, and they created something amazing here. Now, this is a tester, and I think I got this for $40 for 100 ml, 45 bucks or something. The bottle is very well made. It's got this cool, like, you just cut into a side of a rock cliff, you know, right here on the side. And you know, it's a tester, but so what? It has a cap. The cap is just a little plastic cap with the ZNW logo embossed there in the top. But for an incense fragrance, I can't think of a better incense for cheap. I mean, I would love for someone to... I've learned a lot by doing these videos and interacting with you guys. If you know of a better cheap incense fragrance, not talking about, you know, the high-end stuff, but a good cheap incense, I would love to hear your thoughts. I have Gucci A Midnight Stroll, and some of the other ones that I mentioned, and I did an incense video even. This deserves its spot amongst all those other ones. Again, you take price out of the equation. Just give people, smell this, smell Bois d'Encens, smell, you know, Incense Extreme, smell all these other incense fragrances. This belongs, you know, and you can get it for cheap. So again, if you're building a collection, I can't think of two perfumers to start with better than the two that I started with this series. Annick Minardo and Nathalie Lorson. Beautiful work. Now, on to the last fragrance. This is a personal love of mine. It's discontinued. It's very hard to find. One of my favorite coffee fragrances of all time, but it's not sweet. There's hardly any sweetness in this. It's not a sweet coffee. It's a bitter espresso coffee with a cigarette in the morning is basically what it is. This is Trussardi Inside. Look at the inside of the bottle, that alligator skin. And anytime I have a backup, you know I love a fragrance. I got one from Amouage, and I got one somewhere else, I forgot, but they're both testers, so they don't have a cap. But again, so what? Whenever you're collecting, you got to get what you can get. This is so comforting to wear because it's very masculine. It has the note of tobacco in it, but it has this, you know, when you sit down at the kitchen table in the morning, you have your espresso. There's citruses in the top. There's yuzu in the top, which is a unique note. And the coffee is, like I said, espresso, unsweetened, almost like coffee beans. The tobacco is almost like this cigarette, flaky tobacco, like you opened up a cigarette and just let the tobacco out. With her white pepper, she loves the note of pepper, antique wood and cashmere wood and musk. No one talks about this fragrance. Literally no one. Now, it's discontinued. It's hard to find. You're going to pay a couple $100 for it. But this is what a designer fragrance was 13, 14 years ago. When did this come out? This was 2006. So she deserves much more credit for this. This is just as good as stuff like this, which gets a lot of love. Now, you got to pay a little bit more for this than you do for this. But while you can get stuff like this, take advantage of it because you should have this in your collection. If you don't mind spending the money, Trussardi Inside is an amazing fragrance. One of my subscribers said he just bought this based on my recommendation. So I'm gonna love to hear his thoughts. But this is my, and again, I don't have everything from her. Nathalie Lorson has a ton of work. This is just what I have in my collection. She's got 242 perfumes in her database. So she is a busy bee. If I missed any that you've seen me show off in the past, please let me know. But I just wanted to highlight her, give her credit for her work. She is one of the best bang for your buck perfumers, if you will. You get so much for your dollar when you buy a Nathalie Lorson perfume. I'm a huge fan, and I need to try the new niche line, that Maison Violet, that she is working on. I'm very interested to see if the hype is real there, although I don't hear very many people talking about it. So maybe it's going to be kind of one of those under the radar lines. She also did the Givenchy Gentleman, the new Gentleman line. I like the old Givenchy Gentleman from 1974. So she's done some fragrances that have some real mass appeal, but she deserves, I think, a little bit more credit in the community. She's not just a cheapy fragrance perfumer. She is an amazing perfumer, and hats off to her. So if you guys are looking for some bottles to add, I hope you found a couple here. I will be back tonight with an unboxing. So again, a lot of you have commented. I've been pumping out a lot of content. That is because starting in March, I'm going to be going for my CFP. So I won't be able to devote as much time to this. So I just want to put out as much content as I can, because I'm really enjoying interacting with you guys, sharing my passion and love of fragrances with you. I hope you're taking something away from this. Thank you all for watching. Cheers. I'll see you again later. Bye-bye.